Good morning. I'm going to talk about a really popular topic here about headaches. A lot of patients come in and want to know if they can get relief from their headaches through chiropractic care. Can chiropractic care help alleviate some of the headaches they have going on? And this is something that chiropractors have been doing for over 125 years. We can definitely, people have definitely gotten great relief from getting adjusted with their headaches. There's a lot of different causes of headaches, and chiropractic has quite a few different ways we approach them. So I'm going to start in the bottom, and I'm going to work my way up to how we help with headaches. The first way chiropractic has been known to help with headaches is actually with your tailbone. You see, when you walk, your tailbone moves back and forth as you walk. And what happens is the tailbone can get fixated or stuck. So now when it gets fixated or stuck, it will not rock back and forth. Now, when it rocks back and forth, it moves your spinal fluid up and down, up and down. And without this tailbone moving, what you have is a really, really bad migraine. Now, what makes this migraine unique is when you lay down, it goes away. Now, why does that happen? Well, when I lay down, my spinal fluid will level off because I'm changing my way I am with gravity, and I almost get instant relief. So when you first come in and you say, hey, I've had headaches, can you help? The first thing we look at is your sacrum. Maybe we can adjust your sacrum to help. The next place we'll look at is the base of your neck, C5, C6, your fifth and sixth cervical. That's where a major blood vessel goes into your neck and supplies the base of your brain with blood. Now, this blood vessel goes up and supplies what they call the circle of Willis underneath the bottom of your brain. And this has a lot to do with your special senses. So these are the headaches that loud noises and bright lights and stuff bother. Most headaches, these things bother, but these ones especially. These are the ones that patients come in wearing sunglasses. I have a good idea what's going on because the lights are bothering them. And that's also the nerves that innervate your arms. So if you have headaches and you have some hand numbness or some wrist stuff, this is often a big clue to us. Could be the spot of your headaches. So we'll adjust your C5, C6 area and restore some of that blood flow entering your neck. Well, if it goes into your neck, it also comes out of your neck. And that's when we look at C1, C2. Those are the bottom of your skull, right in the base of your skull. We'll adjust these ones too. Now, what's interesting about the C1, C2 is a lot of times these can also influence your sinuses. So this might be someone that has really bad sinus pressure. A lot of times after we adjust them, they immediately need to blow their nose. And, in our clinic, we have it where the table comes up, the Kleenex, the wipes are right there to blow your nose. And that's on purpose because we have so many times this happens. So these ones are misaligned. A lot of times there can be vertigo. There can be sinus problems. There can be, bright lights will bother you. These are all really, really common things. Now, the reason there might be some vertigo is not only does the blood vessel leave the neck here, but there's also the cerebellum, the midbrain. And when we do a cerebellum test here to see how your cerebellum's doing, it's very similar to like a field sobriety test on the highway. And hopefully you've never been in one of those, but maybe you've seen one or watched an episode of Cops or something like that. And this is where your coordination happens. So your coordination, not only the way you walk, but the coordination of all your nerve flow in and out of your spinal cord to your brain. And so when these two bones misalign, there's pressure on your cerebellum. This can cause some really, really bad headaches because basically the old-fashioned switchboard, I used to play the phones on the switchboard. Your switchboard is dealing with a tremendous amount of stress. And this itself can cause some serious, serious headaches because of the input overload. You can't keep up with it. And so the body has to shut down. So these ones are the ones that a lot of times when it's really, really bad, and then you just want to go to bed. Then when you wake up, the headache's gone. So a lot of times we see these have to do with the midbrain. So if you're having those kind of headaches, we can definitely help with those too. And as I already said, sinuses, right? Because when the sinuses are impacted like that, they build a lot of pressure inside the skull. So if we adjust the upper neck and your sinuses open up and you drain like crazy, then that pressure is going to go away. And so is your headache going to go away. So we see a lot of that too for headache relief by adjusting those C1, C2. And let me talk one more thing about the C1, C2. There's a nerve that comes out of here. It's a very, very, very important nerve. It's called the vagus nerve. And in Latin, vagus means wanderer. And what this nerve does is it wanders everywhere, belly button up. And it tells its job is to turn off that fight and flight. You've heard of fight and flight before, right? There's danger, there's trouble. You go into fight or flight. You get all that adrenaline. You're rushing. Your blood vessels get real tight. The blood goes away from your organs more to your blood, to your extremities, so you can fight back. So that's the fight and flight response. Now, if you have a fight and flight response, you obviously have a system that tells your body that danger has left. It's time to relax. It's time to go back to normal. And that's the vagus nerve's job, belly button up. So when you have a C1, C2 problem, we adjust you up there to help you relax, help you chill out. So then when that happens is now you go back to more of a homeostasis, less of a fight and flight, and the blood flow goes back into your head. The next spot we adjust you for this is what they call the occiput, which is the very, very back of your head. We can adjust you back there because, again, there's a lot of midbrain pressure. There are a lot of things that can happen there. Not only that, but some spinal fluid pumps. So I talked about the spinal fluid importance in your tailbone. If your tailbone's not moving right, that can cause some spinal fluid flow issues. That can give you really, really bad migraines. But if we adjust the base of your skull too, and go right back here and get that adjusted, we can also help with some spinal fluid flow. Now, it used to be thought that the spinal fluid's main job was just to have something for the brain to sit and float in. Well, we've learned a lot more now, especially with concussion stuff, that the spinal fluid itself is also nutrients, provides nutrients to the brain, and it also takes the garbage away. You might want to Google search, Jim McMahon and migraine headaches, or Jim McMahon and chiropractic. You'll see a video of the 1985 Bears quarterback, Jim McMahon, about how he was dealing with that concussion stuff. You hear so much bad stuff about. And his chiropractor was able to hook him up to a motion MRI machine. You can actually see the spinal fluid coming in and out of the head and how you get to watch it actually move. And then Dr. Rosa, that was the chiropractor. He has a very special tool that he uses. It goes in there and adjusts right at the C1 occiput area. And it literally flushed all the spinal fluid out of his brain and new spinal fluid came in. It's really cool to watch this on a motion MRI machine. Now, we don't have a motion MRI machine. There's only a few of these around where you're upright. You can actually watch things happen as they happen in real life. But I got to work with Dr. Rosa because of the Rockford Ice Hogs, right? He heard about a guy that's on the Blackhawks that had some real upper cervical stuff going on, and he wanted to meet him. So he reached out to me, knowing that I might know that player. And we were able to do some introductions there to maybe help the player out. It's pretty cool stuff. But we do some work on your occiput. The other thing that we'll do is what they call cranial adjusting. Now, cranial adjusting is when I actually adjust like the bone. You know how you go like this when you have a headache, you rub your temples, trying to free that bone up? Well, there's actually a bone right there. You're actually touching it when you do that. And the secret is we know ways to secure it while you breathe. So you take a breath in, I secure it. You exhale, I let go. We got to go back and forth like that. And when you breathe in, your head expands. It gets larger, and that creates like a vacuum, pulling the spinal fluid in. Then when you exhale, it goes down and pushes it out. Breathe in, it goes in, and it goes out, back and forth. So if I can stabilize one of those bones while you're breathing, then what happens is that bone frees up any kind of fixation it has or any kind of logjam it's creating with the spinal fluid or actually physical pressure on the brain. And then you go back to feeling better. A lot of people will come in with a migraine, we'll lay them down, we'll do this cranial adjustment, they'll get up and their headaches are gone, just like that. And it's really weird because like when I'm doing it, it doesn't really feel like a lot. But when people get up, they're always lightheaded a little bit out of it. And they can't believe how much it does, even though they don't even feel anything while I'm doing it. So that's one that we do too. So these are some of the areas that we look for when you have headaches. Now, how do we know which one to do? How do we figure it out? Well, we take x-rays of your spine. That's always one of the first things because one, we need to know where to adjust you. And two, we have to know how to adjust you. And the x-rays show us the different angles and stuff like that, how to adjust you. Not only that, but when we x-ray you, we'll also be able to see your posture. Because if you have what they call a military neck, where your neck is like straight up and down, and you're not, your posture is really bad, or your head's way out like this, you're creating so much stress in those areas I talked about before, the C5, C6, that you're not going to be able to hold your adjustment until we get the posture back. And so what we do is after we x-ray you, we evaluate your posture, and we will give you homework to go home and work on to get your posture back. Now, can you just do the posture exercises without the chiropractic care? Well, it's not as effective because when your bones are misaligned, there's a fixation that occurs. And until that fixation's been loosened up, it's really hard to take the exercise and the stretches to make them work. So what we do is we do a few adjustments. We loosen you up and get this so that you're open and receptive to the new exercises and traction. And then we let you go home and do that. So we teach you how to do that at home after you get a few adjustments. So those are some of the areas we work on. The other thing we'll do is we'll just do a couple of chiropractic exams on you. I mean, for your tailbone, it's really easy to see what's going on based on your feet length. We measure your feet to see if you have a short leg or a long leg. And I know some of you have been told you have a short leg, this and that, but most of the time what happens is you don't really have a short leg or a short leg that's really matters. You have a rotated pelvis or a sacrum that's off. If you get that adjusted, you level off right away. And that's one thing you can actually watch us do on somebody else. They lay them down, they're crooked, we adjust them to straight. And so, or they have a short leg and I bend their knees and their short leg becomes longer. So I ask them, which leg was shorter? It's when your pelvis rotates, that's what happens. So if we find that rotated pelvis or that sacrum off, we know to adjust you down there too. So that's kind of how we do things. You come in, you get a quick evaluation, you get looked at. Now, if you're not from my area and you're watching this video somewhere and you have headaches and you want some answers, how to get them feeling better, leave us a message below. I'm the Illinois delegate of the International Chiropractic Association. I have counterparts all over the world. So if you're in a different state and need some help, I'll be happy to try to help you. So I hope this answers some questions about kind of like what we look for when you have headaches. And there's a couple other things. I don't have a whole hour to go over everything with you, but I want to kind of give you the highlights of what we do and what we look for. So if you're someone that has headaches, or you know someone that has headaches, they're miserable. And we're here to help. Chiropractic has some solutions and some answers, and they're all drug-free, right? We talk a lot about opiate addictions and opiate overdoses and stuff like that. That's not chiropractic. That's not us at all. We do a drug-free approach, and we help you out. So if you have a question or you want some more information, go ahead and leave a comment below. Feel free to always, if you have a question about chiropractic, ask a chiropractor. Don't ask somebody else. They didn't go to chiropractic school. They don't know what we do. They might be a great orthopedic surgeon. They might be a great family doctor. I'm not saying they're not, but they're probably really bad dentists. If you had a dentist question, you'd ask a dentist. So go ahead and ask the chiropractor. Feel free to email me, message me below, or anything else you want to do, and I'll come back to you here. Maybe next time you'll be the question and answer and ask the chiropractor. Other than that, stay healthy, stay safe, and we're here for you if you have anything. Thank you.